All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Christina Schaefer, principal at Millville Elementary School, and I am here with our wonderful preschool team and our fabulous instructional coach that works with our pre-K to 2 staff. So we're here to answer any of the questions you have, as well as to tell you a little bit about ourselves and our programs, and help you learn a little bit more about our program. All right, we'll start. Miss B, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Kathy Boisford. I'm an integrated preschool teacher here at Millville Elementary. I have been working here since 2007. Oh my goodness, long time. I am a certified special ed and pre-K to 2 with and without disabilities, and I absolutely love my job.
Perfect. Mrs. Colgan.
Hi, my name is Sue Colgan. I'm also one of the integrated preschool teachers here at the Millville Elementary School. Right now, I'm currently in my 10th year working in Millville. Previously to that, I worked in Millis for 4 years, and I ran their early childhood center, which was their child care center that was attached to their preschool program. And I'm the mother of 3, and I have 4 grandchildren, and I love early childhood. I'm licensed in early childhood, elementary education, and special education, and my true love is the littles. I love early childhood education and young children.
Allen.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Allen. I am the teacher of the flexible program. This is my 3rd year here, but I've been working with students for over 20 years. I am licensed in preschool, elementary ed, and special ed. And all of my kids have grown, and I really just enjoy working with the little guys. It's really exciting, and every day is a new experience.
You, Miss Ferris.
My name is Megan Ferris. I'm the other preschool teacher, integrated preschool teacher at Millville Elementary. This is my 2nd school year working in the Millville Elementary School. It is my 1st school year in the preschool program. Last year I taught music, and then I taught general ed kindergarten. I graduated from UMass Amherst, and I just love teaching little kids. It's my passion, and I can see myself doing it for the rest of my life. So I'm really happy to be here.
And Mrs. Hartz.
Hi, I'm Angela Hart, and I'm the instructional coach here at Millville. This is my 1st year. My family moved here from Ohio in July, so New England is new to us. But I really enjoy working with the preschool staff and the rest of the Millville staff here.
Fantastic. So this is a little bit about our staff here at Millville Elementary. So our school is a pre-K through 1 this year, and next year will be pre-K through 2. So our current first graders have actually been with us, all of them, since kindergarten. For those that are new to the district or may not know a ton about it, we reorganized at the elementary level this current school year. So last year, due to COVID and spacing, we did have the current first grade, but all kindergarten and Millville. And this year we have all Blackstone and Millville, kindergarten, preschool, kindergarten, and first graders. And next year will be our first year with 2nd grade of Blackstone and Millville students, which will be our current 1st grade class. So they will be with us from potentially pre-K all the way up through 2. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat and they will be sent to us. And in the meantime, we do have some common questions that families or parents may ask us. So we'll take turns answering different questions and kind of going through there. So let's start with preschool. Can you talk a little bit about what the typical preschool day looks like?
Sure. I think in all of our classrooms, our integrated classroom, as well as our specialized instruction, we usually have routines. We usually have an arrival routine. We usually have centers or activities-based learning. Often there's a circle time or story time where we ask probing questions. We've really, this year and last year, really begun to really explore the World of Wonders program, which has really taken circle time to a whole new level. We usually have an activity time, which is usually either math or science-based and a lot of hands-on materials. We also have specials. We have art, we have music, we have library, and we have gym, depending on which session they come. And again, we also have a dismissal routine. So each of our classrooms have different elements to the day, and they might be in a different order. But we really do have classroom routines to help them get ready to learn. Would anyone else like to add to that?
I think that for me, my typical day is arrivals, which during that time we work on self-help skills as well. As I think Ms. B said. We have center time. I try and put out several centers. Some are fine motor centers, a writing center, a gross motor activity, and the students rotate throughout the centers. Maybe a dramatic play center, or maybe a center that ties in with the themes that we're working on that week or that month. We have the specials, as Ms. B said, which are art, music, library, physical education, and STEM. And in addition to having a structured curriculum, we also want the students to run, jump, play, be silly, dance, sing, and make friends. So that's what I think a typical day looks like in preschool.
Thank you both. So can anybody talk a little bit about the curriculum that we use in the preschool program?
I can speak a little bit to the curriculum. So we're currently using the World of Wonders curriculum. We're piloting it in the preschool program. So we're trying to figure out which pieces really work the best for our schedule and our program. And it's really great for the kids at this level to have the exposure to the World of Wonders program, since in kindergarten, which is we're getting them ready for kindergarten, they will be doing the World of Wonders program with more fidelity and using more pieces of it. So the exposure in preschool is really good at this level. We're also just starting to use our Foundations program again. So that's building alphabet awareness at the preschool level, and they will again continue to do those types of things in kindergarten. So we're getting them exposed and we're getting them all ready for their more full day, more intense programs moving forward.
The students in my classroom do very similar to the other classrooms, but being the flexible program, some of those individual activities are more specialized depending upon their own needs. So bits of the curriculum will be modified and planned for that specific kiddo.
Thank you. So we do have a question from our audience. The question is, how soon will we know if our kids are accepted? Some preschools need a deposit by February vacation, and we will lose our deposit if our children are picked. Thank you. So I can answer part of that unless, Kat, you want to answer? Go ahead.
No, feel free. I was just going to say
so our lottery is typically in March when we do our preschool lottery. So anybody want to talk a little bit about kind of like this past year, we didn't hold a lottery because we did add another classroom. So it does give us additional spots in the classroom. Does anybody else want to talk a little bit about the application lottery process?
I think one of the things that we found the last couple of years, and especially this year having added an additional teacher, which made for an additional 4 classes, I think we were able to get most people into the program. It just might not be exactly the days that you want. That's been more of our problem, is that everybody seems to want morning and sometimes only afternoons available, but we were able to accommodate the last 2 years at least, almost all of our families. And there have been a few families that maybe wanted a 3-day program and only got into a 2-day program or something like that. And then they were put on the waiting list and we somehow, if students moved over the summer, a lot of times it works out that you do end up with exactly what you want. But in general, we were able to give everyone a slot the last 2 years. You might just have to be a little bit more flexible on the days or the times. Is that what you think, Ms. B?
Yeah, and we really let the parents dictate our program. In the past, I had a 5-day-a-week program. And if I get full, I have a 5-day-a-week program. But if more people want a 3 and a 2, that's what we'll offer. So we really do take that information, and we have a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5-day program option. But we really do play with the numbers to make sure we can meet the needs of as many learners as possible. So every year, if I have enough to fill a 5-day, then we'll have that. If not, I'm going to be 3 and 2. So we really look at those applications and try to accommodate as many people and as many families as possible, and give them exactly what they want. Mrs. Colgan's right, though. Sometimes, especially the 3-day program, which is our most popular, you may end up in the afternoon versus the morning. So we try our best to accommodate everybody. It just might not be the time of day that you prefer.
And I think one of the reasons we have been able to accommodate most families is, as Ms. B said, we're always looking at the needs of the community. For example, when I first started working here 10 years ago, the economy was much different. And there were many parents who really would have loved to have sent their children to a 5-day-a-week program. But as far as the cost, they preferred to do 2 days. So we actually ended up changing our program at one time to have more 2-day programs. And then we've changed it back over time. But that was what we ended up doing, as we saw that there were much greater need for a 2-day program than a 3-day program. So we're trying to let the community dictate what we do, as opposed to us being very rigid. So that was what we did since I've been here.
Okay, so we have another question. How do parents sign their child up for preschool? And I can tell parents that the preschool lottery applications are going to be out in the next few weeks. They are available on our website. You can also email Mrs. Stearman and she can get a copy of it sent to you, or send you the link so that you can access it. The first step is you have a one-page-ish application where you apply for their lottery. And as you know, Ms. B and Mrs. Colgan said, that they may very well not need to do a lottery depending on flexibility of families. So if we don't need to do a lottery, we won't. And last year we did not need to. Then the lottery may just help determine who's in the morning and who's in the afternoon if there's no flexibility to that. So that may be kind of, I think 2 years ago we did a lottery. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. B and Mrs. Colgan, I believe we did it for the 3-day morning only session. And then we were able to accommodate afternoon for those that didn't get in the morning, I believe. Okay.
Yes, correct.
So that is a piece that that we, have not really had. We've kind of played with every year. It changes every year as to how much of a lottery we need to do. We do have, actually, I want to jump back to Mrs. Allen, and then we do have another question, so we'll get to that one in a second. So Mrs. Allen had mentioned that she is part of the flexible program. So what is the difference between a flexible program and an integrated program? Someone tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. I can tell you guys about the flexible program, and then if other people want to jump in about the integrated piece, and we can kind of, look at the differences. The flexible program is a more specialized program. It's for students that have pretty intensive needs, and the students are typically on IEPs and need individual education. We do a lot of hands-on manipulative type learning. We have lots of center-based activities, and our small groups might not be the same length of time that the integrated setting might have, things of that nature.
And when we talk about flexible, and Megan and Sue, or Mrs. Colgan and Mrs. Ferris can jump in as well, what we're often doing is having children from Mrs. Allen's or the more intensive program included in with their children, the integrated setting with children with less significant needs, to offer more social opportunities. And it really is very flexible in the sense that someone in Mrs. Allen's room might be there 5 days a week, and they might come see us once or twice a week. And our goal is to continue to add to that and expand their exposure being in the integrated setting. So we're really looking at, when we say flexible, it's not that we don't know what we're doing or that we don't have a plan. It's just that we're allowing the child and their skill set and their needs dictate what the services we offer. As they move from Mrs. Allen's room, where it's more intensive and the adult is facilitating much more, to our classroom where children are a little bit more independent, we let that child transition as they can or as they're able.
I think too, what An integrated program means that within the classroom, there are students that have been identified as having a special need. Typically, an integrated classroom has about 75% of the students are general education students, and about 25% of the students have been identified as having some type of a disability.
All right, so next question is, and I'm going to answer this one, what are the costs? So currently our costs are being looked at for next year. This year, I have to remember this now, a 2-day program is 120, a 3-day program is 180, a 4-day program is 240, and a 5-day program is 300, and this is a month. So this is a monthly cost. We are looking at the cost of the program, so those are going to be subject to change. So there's no guarantee that that's going to be the same price for next year. So that information will all be on the Preschool Lottery application, and we'll have the exact cost of that. We do have another question. Will students currently enrolled in the preschool program be subject to the lottery process for their second year of preschool?
Yes, and not to be unfair or fair, but what we found in the past is if a child got in that first year and we automatically kept them, that would take that spot away, and someone who's coming in would never have the opportunity. Again, we very rarely turn anyone away. We've been so good with being able to accommodate all families at some level, but it's not a guarantee, only because we want to make sure that for family, if there was a lottery and they didn't get in, have an opportunity for the exposure. But we've been very open and flexible that we are able to accommodate everyone. So I'd almost guarantee they're in, but I can't guarantee for sure.
All right, thank you. How many students are in a typical preschool class?
I can answer that question. So in our typical preschool class, we have anywhere between 8 and 13 to 15 kids. Usually 15 is the most kids that we can have in our integrated classroom. And again, if we have less than 15, and that means that we have spaces in our program that are open and can be filled by another child. So our cap is 15 though.
Thank you. How about if I had a student come into preschool, what would they need to bring to school when they come on their day of school?
So you're muted.
Okay. Yep. All students need to have a backpack. Mm-hmm. They need to have, in the past, we've always had students bring a peanut-free snack. This year, the school district did provide snacks for the students. I'm not sure if that's going to continue. We don't know that yet because that was a federal funding initiative, so there's no guarantees. So they should plan on bringing a snack. Right. So we would say a backpack big enough to hold all their supplies, which would be a full change of clothes, shirt, pants, underwear, socks, and a peanut-free snack. It's something to hold their snack in. And one of the things that we say is label, 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 because some years everybody loves the frozen backpack. They all look the same. And the best thing to do would be to label all of their supplies, as well as making sure that their backpack, that they can handle it themselves, is always helpful, because one of the things we work on at arrival and dismissal is self-help skills. And it's nice if they can open their snacks themselves, as we obviously we're going to help them. It's part of the whole learning process. But if it's a backpack that they can sort of negotiate that they can fit their snack in, that's really helpful as well. I've even said that if their student is having difficulty holding a backpack, some of those really colorful dollar bags that you get at toy stores and things like that are helpful as well, just to make their things easy enough for them to be able to handle, as well as their clothes too. We're trying to encourage independence in the bathroom and things like that. So it would be helpful if they had, maybe not too many buttons, zips, jumpsuits, things like that can be difficult. And also during the summer, we send out a whole welcome to preschool letter. It will outline our arrival procedures, our departure procedures, and exactly what you need to bring. So don't worry if you can't remember everything today. We will be refreshing your memory over the summer.
And I just want to add, the reason we ask for a separate set of clothes is we understand their children and preschoolers and learning. Sometimes they spill or they have an accident and all of that. It's something we understand, but to make it a little less stressful for children, if it's their own clothes, it tends to make that a situation a little less upsetting.
Well, I'm going to come up to another question is, do our preschool students need to be potty trained?
For our role models, yes. With that being said, we also know they're 3 and 4 years old and life happens. But we do understand. But yes, they need to be potty trained in order to be a role model or tuition paying student for our program. But again, if something does happen, they don't get removed from the program and all of that. We understand those first couple of weeks, there might be an accident due to nervousness or lack of knowing where the bathroom is, even though it's in the classroom and things like that. But for our tuition paying students, they do need to be potty trained.
And I always say too that we do say the students that are role models, tuition paying students, do need to be potty trained, but we do understand that potty training is a work in progress. And sometimes students can regress if there's a baby in the house or something happens at home. So we do understand that. We've had many times that we need to change a student, and we're happy to do that as well as needed.
Okay, we have another question. I'm trying to pull them up here. Is there a date when we will find out if your child is accepted?
It's usually as soon after the lottery as possible. It's usually within a few days of the lottery. And some days we'll let you know even on the day of the lottery if we don't have to have one. If we have enough spots for everyone. So it's very quickly. So when our official date is, it'll be within a day or two after that. You'll probably get some sort of notification.
All right. So we actually have another question. It says, in the past, you mentioned that a full day program was a consideration if there was enough interest in the community. What would a full day program look like in terms of daily routine? And I can answer that one if you guys want to chime in too. As of right now, I don't believe we are offering a full day program. We explored it a little bit last year, but I think we've decided at this point, again this year, we are going to keep the program at half day unless there is some other changes. But as of right now, there'll be half day programs. And could you guys talk a little bit about, obviously we're in COVID and we don't know what next school year is going to be like. Can you talk a little bit about how your classrooms are set up, following the protocols, and even some of you, Sue and Kat, you were in the program last year. So last year was even a little bit more strict. So if you want to talk a little bit about what it looks like this year, and obviously, unfortunately, we do not know the exact protocols for next year. So we can tell you what we look like this year and go from there.
In my classroom, the students are supposed to be 3 feet apart, and we use masks. That's mostly, the teachers use masks. I happen to be alone in my room at the moment, so I don't have my mask on, but the teachers use masks, the students use masks, and I have to say, the students adapted really well to masks, much better than adults I know. And they sit in desks, which we used to have round tables, and they all sat together at round tables. So they sit in desks, and when I sit them on the rug, if we do sit on the rug, we have rug squares so that they maintain some distance. And they are all well aware that they need to keep some space, and they're okay with that. Some of the things that we do, because it is difficult as a preschool teacher where you want kids to interact, trying to get them to interact while we're still trying to maintain some space. So some of the things I do is I throw a ball back and forth, and I have the kids throw the ball from one student to another so they learn each other's names. We did tons of outdoor play at the beginning of the year, and last year we used to do beanbag tosses where I had the students in pairs so that they could still play. And it's amazing what you can do and how creative you can be to enable students to be safe and to still socialize. So that was what my classroom looked like.
My classroom was similar, and as Mrs. Schaefer said, in the first year of COVID, we were 6 feet apart. All students were working with individual materials and all that. And even though we're still quite rigid, we pulled back a little bit. Now they're 3 feet apart. In my classroom, they have little movement mats and such. And I think when you see our video, we are going to send a video out, you can see our classrooms are still quite welcoming and very enjoyable. Our students, this is all they've kind of known, and it was harder a struggle for us than for them. Kids really do very well with it, and we're really offering opportunities to play, move, engage. One of the things I do in my classroom is I use my smartboard, and we do memory games on it. So it's nice and big. The kids can all play at the same time. So utilizing technology to continue to that, sharing and turn taking, but still being socially distant.
My classroom this year is similar. I know that I was not in the preschool program prior to COVID, but I did join in COVID. So in my classroom, every child has their own zone, I like to call it, they have their desk and their movement mat. I have the desk set up in a very large U shape so that all the children can still see each other. They can verbally interact across the circle. We can use things like balls and bean bags and other materials like Mrs. Colgan was talking about across that circle. And in my classroom, I'm very lucky to have a brand new 65-inch touchscreen smart board. So that is really nice. It's very big. The kids can see everything. They can interact with everything. We can do lots of activities and explore lots of our curriculum. And the kids, again, have no problem staying in their zone and having fun at the same time.
So I actually, as Ms. Ferris mentioned, her new smartboard touchscreen, actually the entire school will have those. So by next year's preschool program, they should be all set up in the preschool classroom. So they should all have exactly what Ms. Ferris has in her room. And they're pretty awesome. They're like TVs on a cart. We have another question that came in. If you have more than one child that they would like to enroll in a program, do they fill out 2 enrollment forms, lottery forms? And then just the other question is the location of the forms. So the forms are not up yet, but they will be going up in the next few weeks. If you want to email Mrs. Stearman, so her email is KSTEARMAN@BMRSD, so Blackstone Millville Regional School District.net. She can also give you a heads up when they're available or give you a link to where they are, so that if you need that help with that as well, she can help with that. And if someone wants to talk about the multiple forms for multiple children, let us know.
And yes, you do need to fill out a form for each child. We also ask if it's a twin or a triplet or whatever, what is your feelings on being in the same classroom? Often what we do is we really like to have them in a separate classroom so they have their own experience. But please put that on the form. If it's a sibling, if you want them in the same session or the same time of day, we really do also try to accommodate that as well. It will come down to, though, if you want one child 5 days and one 2, we'll have to do a little bit of Tetris. We'll make it work as best we can. So every child needs a form so that we can put them in and make sure we can put them in their own slot.
And I think that that's an important piece. If you do have another child that may have a different last name, a sibling that may have a different last name, please denote that on the form, or even just do it to let us know, so that we know that we may even have someone else with your same last name. So we can make sure that if they are siblings, they are in the same class or separate classes or same sessions, if that is what's best for your family. Another question is, what are the hours for preschool? So there's the morning session, what time is that? And then the afternoon session, what time is that?
I can answer to that if you like. Right now, our morning session is 9:15 to 11:45. And our afternoon session is 12:40 to 3:10. That being said, we do allow it about a 10-minute window on either end to stagger the students in. This may change next year due to busing, because it used to be slightly different. It was 9 to 11:30 and then 12:30 to 3. And with the busing situation, Mrs. Schaefer might have to adapt our schedule slightly, just so that our preschool students aren't blocking buses and we have to work that out with the rest of the school district. But what we currently do now is after the buses leave and morning announcements, right about 9:05 to 9:15, we stagger the students in so that they're coming in a couple at a time. We have a moment to talk to the parents and greet each student instead of having all the classes come in at the exact same moment. Some students do have a little difficulty coming into school. So we have about a 10-minute window so that our goal is that at 9:15, all students are in the classroom, all ready to learn. We kind of do the same thing on the way out. We allow like 5 to 10 minutes to dismiss students so that we don't have a huge traffic jam and that the students are staggered out as well. It seems to work well. That's the way we've done it. And I don't know, Mrs. Schaefer, if you anticipate any changes for next year?
As of right now, no. But as this year, we also didn't expect the way we were this year. So we do ask that preschool parents, even though you may have an older child at Millville that's going to be in K1 or 2, we do ask that you pull down on Berthollet Way and wait for all the buses. We do have 13 buses. In the beginning of the year, we started with cars and buses at the same time. It was very hectic. Buses couldn't unload. It actually significantly impacted our drop off for our students on the bus. We were at about 10 past 9 on the first couple weeks of school or a week of school. And with working with the school resource officer, as well as our preschool team, we came up with a plan, and we get all the buses in first. There's, I believe, 13 buses, and I believe could probably be the same for next year. And we will get them all off. So we'll be different though, because we will have an extra grade getting off. So it may take some adjustments again, but we will see as the beginning of the year goes on. Go ahead, Ms. B.
I just want to add too, the preschoolers actually come past the front door and come to the side door. And that's the reason we're asking everyone to wait on Berthollet or just pause for a moment, because you can't get through anyways. And then it blocks, it's a double block. So it's worked out, once we got the routine down, it worked out very well this year. Again, even if you drop off a child, waiting on Berthollet and then coming around, because we're on the side. So even if we block the buses can't unload. So now it's buses first and then preschoolers. But we're very flexible. Again, we're going out as early as we can. We're giving that nice long transition time, 5-10 minutes early, to make sure that we have it. We'll get your child in, I promise, as fast as possible. But with the buses, they're the priority to get them out, and then they're out of the way, and then the transition goes very smoothly.
And the other piece I think to remember is when people are leaving, to be mindful, because our SRO will help, that's our school resource officer, will help with parking, but we sometimes double park in that front loop. Couple things is where as you might be parked on the other side, be careful when you're crossing or be careful when you're leaving, depending on which side you're parked at. So we're not, we obviously don't take someone out in the meantime. But we have found that this so far is working, the process we're going. We also do ask that, if you do need to talk with your child's teacher, that you set up a conference time to meet with them, not talking during pickup, because that does impact, especially at the end of the day when parents are parked and getting their children. Sometimes the cars are blocking our buses because our buses get out a few minutes after the preschool pickup. So that does impact, when we have parents talking to the teachers, that does impact the dismissal of the buses and how many buses we can pull out in the front loop.
And also too, when you get your welcome to preschool letter in the summer, we will outline the drop off and pickup procedure.
All right. So we have we're a few minutes over. So we do want to thank everybody. We've got all the questions so far that have come in. If you do think of any other questions, you can email Mrs. Stearman or myself, and we can answer questions or get the information from our preschool team and then email you back. Some other pieces to remember, the preschool packet will be available in the next few weeks, or the preschool lottery form will be available in the next few weeks on the website. You can email Mrs. Stearman again. If you need some assistance or would like her to email you once it comes out. And in addition, the lottery will take place. It typically takes place in March. I don't remember the exact date off the top of our head. It's also going to depend on when the lottery applications come out, if we need to adjust it. We also have an exciting, on Monday, we're going to load on the Millville Facebook page, the Millville Elementary website. We will be uploading our preschool tour. So at this point, we're not having families come in. It may change over the summer. The end of the school year, we may adjust that. We're beginning of the year. But we did work something out at the beginning of this past year where preschool families had a chance to come in on the first day of school for the rest of the school. They had the chance to come in and get to see the classroom. So we have a virtual tour from our preschool teachers, and that will be releasing on Monday. It's kind of like a movie release here. So you can look out on the Facebook page, you can look on our website, and if you don't have access to either, again, you can contact the school and we can email you a link to the video so that you can see what our video looks like. The nice thing is if you have a child that may have a little bit of anxiety, it may be nice to show them the video several times so they can see who the teachers are, that they can see what the classrooms look like. They can see some of the materials. And once you actually know who your teacher will be, you can show it to them again so they can get a face with the name. So, but thank you for those that were able to join us. This session is being recorded so that way we can play it for those that were unable to join us. And thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.